I didn't realize she was slipping away because nothing was falling apart. That's what fooled me. No fights, no slammed doors, no raised voices in the kitchen at midnight. Just silence that grew heavier every week. When people ask how long we were together, I say 4 years. But if I'm honest, we stopped being us somewhere around year 3. Back then, I told myself this was normal, comfortable, adult. I thought stability was the goal. Her name was Lauren. She was the kind of woman who noticed small things. The way a room felt when you entered, the pause between words, the tension people pretended wasn't there. I liked that about her. Until it started applying to me. We lived in a clean apartment with neutral colors. Nothing on the walls that revealed too much. Furniture chosen for function, not memory. I called it practical. She once called it careful. I laughed it off. I worked long hours. Not because anyone forced me to, but because work was predictable. Effort in, results out. Love didn't follow the same rules. Lauren never accused me of not caring. That would have been easier. Instead, she asked questions. Are you happy? Do you still feel close to me? Do you ever miss me when I'm sitting right next to you? Questions without clear answers make me uncomfortable. So I answered carefully. I'm here, aren't I? We're fine? Not everything needs to be intense. She nodded every time, and every nod felt like something quietly closing. There was a night, I think it was a Thursday, when she sat on the edge of the bed, still dressed, lights off. I was checking emails. She said, "Can I ask you something without you fixing it?" I told her I'd try. She took a breath. I don't feel chosen anymore. I remember thinking how strange that word sounded. Chosen, like love was a daily decision instead of a settled fact. I told her she was overthinking. I told her consistency mattered more than passion. I told her what I believed. And I didn't notice the moment her expression changed. That was the night something shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just enough that I felt it weeks later, like realizing a room has been cold for hours. After that, she stopped asking. That should have scared me. But I felt relieved. No more emotional conversations. No more pressure to explain myself. Peace, I thought. She started staying later at work, going to the gym alone, calling her sister more often. I told myself it was healthy, independent. One evening, I came home to find her sitting at the table, hands folded, phone face down. She looked calm. That was new. I don't want you to panic, she said. And that's when I knew. Whatever she was about to say had already been decided somewhere I hadn't been paying attention. Not right away. She said, I need to tell you something and I don't want you to... I nodded. That was my first mistake. I've been feeling lonely, she said. Not alone. Lonely. She looked straight at me while she said it. I looked at the table. I know you care, she continued. And that almost makes this harder. Almost. That word stayed with me. She explained it carefully, like she was talking to someone fragile, how she felt invisible next to me, how my calm felt like distance, how every time she reached emotionally, she felt like she was knocking on glass, close enough to see me, never close enough to touch. I wanted to argue, to explain that this was just how I loved, quiet, stable, reliable. But something in her voice told me explanations wouldn't help. I don't need fireworks, she said. I need to feel wanted, not supported, not accommodated, wanted. I asked her when this started. She thought for a moment. Probably when I stopped trying to make you see it. That felt like an accusation. It wasn't. It was worse. It was a fact. I asked if there was someone else. She shook her head immediately. No, this isn't about another person. That should have relieved me. It didn't. She told me she'd already looked at apartments, not because she wanted to leave, but because she needed to know she could. I felt something tighten in my chest. Control slipping. I'm not asking you to change overnight, she said. I'm asking you to meet me somewhere emotionally. Just once. I wanted to say yes, I really did. But I didn't know how. So I did what I always do. I stayed calm. I said, let's not make big decisions when we're emotional. She smiled softly. That smile ended us. I've been emotional for a long time, she said. You've been avoiding it. She stood up, picked up her phone, and went to the bedroom. I stayed at the table, because staying felt familiar. That night, she slept facing the wall, not angrily, just turned away. There's a difference. Over the next few weeks, we lived like roommates, polite, functional, distant. I kept waiting for things to go back to normal. She was quietly packing pieces of her life. One morning, she kissed my cheek before work. It was gentle, final. I almost stopped her, almost. I told myself there would be time later. I always did. I didn't realize later had already passed. No arguments, no tears, just boxes labeled neatly. I helped carry them to her car. That still haunts me. We stood there for a moment, the trunk open. She looked tired, not broken, free. I hope you don't think this means I stopped loving you, she said. I know, I replied. That was a lie. She hugged me, longer than expected, like she was saying goodbye to the version of me she'd been hoping for. Then she got in the car and drove away. The apartment felt bigger without her, not emptier, just hollow. At first, nothing changed. I still went to work, still cooked the same meals, still slept on my side of the bed. Stability is good at pretending nothing happened. But slowly, things started to surface. Her absence in the mornings, the silence during dinner, the way my phone never lit up anymore. One night, I sat on the couch and realized something uncomfortable. I didn't miss the chaos. I missed being needed. I replayed conversations in my head, moments I dismissed, questions I answered too logically. Times she reached for me, and I stayed still. I thought loving quietly was mature. I didn't understand that love still needs to be felt. Months later, I ran into her at a coffee shop. She looked good, grounded. We talked, small updates, safe distance. I learned something, she said before leaving. What? That wanting more wasn't asking too much. She smiled gently. I just asked the wrong person. That one stayed with me. I walked home slower that day, not because I was sad, because I was finally paying attention. I'm different now, not louder, just more present. Stability matters, but it can't replace being chosen and choosing back. Some people don't leave because love disappears. They leave because waiting becomes too heavy. I still believe in calm. I just don't hide behind it anymore. Because stability without presence is just another kind of absence.